All right, is everyone pretty much done?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so basically what I want you guys to do, this would be actually, I would introduce this strategy as a, well, I would introduce in the beginning of the year, show the student how to use it, but this would be like a homework exercise. The student wouldn't be reading unless you want them to read and find out some of the things. But let's summarize what we got here. So, what was first thing you found out? Anyone? Raise your hand. Jean, you found something out?
Slope helps to find heights of objects like, excuse me, trees and buildings.
Slope help find height?
Heights of objects.
Okay. Kristen?
It's also called rate of change.
Also called rate of change. Did anyone have the same idea from this rate of, did anyone else got? Okay, so 3 of you guys. Rate of change. One more thing. Go ahead.
Slope is the change in y over the change in x. Rise over run.
So it's rise over run. Did anyone call slope is called? You could mention slope as m. I mean, m is referred to slope. So it's rise over run. So 2 interesting things. And go ahead.
Slope is important not just in math, but in physics, chemistry, population studies.
So it's important in other content. All right, one more thing. Go ahead, Antonio.
A line has only one slope.
A line has only one slope.
I thought that was interesting.
That's interesting.
Straight line. Yeah, no, it's
And did anyone have any question? Then
Why did they pick letter M?
why did they pick letter M? I don't know.
X and Y were already used.
Well, they had D or S for slope.
S is
Allison
some.
knows.
Since the like Cartesian plane was developed by René Descartes, it's the French word for rise, which is monter.
Oh, really?
You know, it's not cool to show the teacher up front.
Brownie points.
Cool. Anyone else have a question?
Smart.
They'd like to ask? Okay. Go ahead.
I put, what if the speed or the rate changes? If it increases or decreases, how can you have a predictable outcome? Like in population, how can you predict population change? You don't really know if it's going to decrease or increase.
Right. In that case, you just have to, well, they said line slope has only one. Yeah, so it's going to be, I mean, you got to pick up a line that best fits your data. Anyway, the whole point of this exercise is obviously to summarize what the students are understanding of the text or material that you're giving them to read. And like I mentioned earlier, I would introduce this strategy in the beginning of the year, maybe in class, but this would be technically their homework. And when they come in class, you could sort of summarize what they got from the reading by either dropping down the information they got or making some sort of diagram or chart or table. So, you think this this strategy is, well, it's easy to remember, 3, 2, 1, and you think it's helpful?
Yeah.
Christian?
I think it's definitely helpful because a lot of schools are struggling with reading
Right.
comprehension for their students.
Especially in
So-
mathematics.
Yeah, so I think even if you did something that doesn't like require them to put what they found in their own words, so they're not just writing down a sentence from the reading, it would be really helpful.
I mean, this you could also replace like a worksheet that you give them, like rather than asking them several questions, you could ask you could have them come up with a question. That's another thing. You could modify the strategy. The generic name is 3-2-1, but you could have them list three questions that you came up with, two similar things or whatever. Like for example, if you're studying World War I and World War II, you could have them compare and contrast World War I and World War II by dropping down three things similar, two things different, and maybe one question they still have or something else. Yeah. Well, this strategy is mainly like just for reading, so language art wouldn't have any problem incorporating. But what I'm seeing most is that many math teachers, I haven't actually observed one math teacher that actually uses this strategy. I think it's very helpful. So can I have some of the language art people tell me how you would incorporate the strategy?
We probably use it when we're reading nonfiction, just reading for information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because students might come up with different things, and that's why it's important for teachers to summarize everything. So you're on one track, you're focusing on one concept.
You can also use it for fiction as well, for like key concept, big ideas, and then break it down as 3-2-1.
Right. Yep. What about science, biology?
What you said earlier about comparing and contrasting, like finding three things similar about like two processes in the cells and then two things different.
Right. I mean, there might be more things, but like this, like I mentioned earlier, different students are gonna pick up different things. That's what's interesting. World languages.
I was going to say that it really, talk about learning styles, especially if you're not a mathematical, logical person.
Right.
This really helps you come at it in a different way, from a more of a reading, verbal linguistic kind of a way. And I think that it helps me because I'm not a logical mathematical person, but I was able to understand the text because you kind of did it in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of schools that are struggling with readers, and you might find a student in 8th grade that doesn't know how to read. So it helps many students. What else content we have? We have history.
Probably primary sources do the same thing, looking for information.
Mm-hmm. Right. Would you have them do it in class or as a homework?
Probably start off in class because sometimes primary sources like newspaper articles can be hard.
Right.
And then let them branch off and do it themselves.
Cool. I think I got everyone, right? Okay, cool. Well, that'll be all. Thank you very much. Hope you use it.